Hello, John Monroe here, out for a bike ride on Birmingham's blue bike lane, and taking the opportunity of the state funeral today, a little bit quieter on the roads, to get out and imagine if the blue lane was connected one end to the other. So I'm gonna be coming up to the end of the southern part of the blue lane here, and making a kind of suggested route, I guess making an argument for a route that might connect the two parts of Birmingham's blue bike lane. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so as everyone who rides a bike in Birmingham knows, there's one really good bike lane, or maybe two, the blue lane. You can think of it as one bike lane with a big gap in it, or two bike lanes that approach the city center from two different directions and leave a big gap in between them. So what I want to do here is think about and suggest a way that the two could be connected. So the lane here crosses over this road, but I'm going to take the lane and suggest that the blue lane could continue by taking space from this wide road here. As a way to connect up to the other part of the lane, as we'll see. It seems like, I mean, again, because of the funeral that's happening today, the streets are quieter, so there's less cars than there normally would be. But also it seems like this is a lane that could be given over to bicycles, given that there's already several lanes for the cars. And this is a kind of a direct way that, as I want to point out as I go, has several positive implications. It's a direct way to connect the two parts of the blue route. And it has several positive implications on the way for building a larger network of cycling infrastructure in Birmingham. So the beauty of the lane, or the two lanes, however you want to think of it, I tend to think of it as one sort of lane that runs from the University of Birmingham heading north to the city center, and then picks up again at the northern end of the city center, continuing north up to Perry Bar train station. Again, if you can think of it as two lanes, but the gap between them remains either way. So the beauty of it is that when you're on these lanes, it's quite a nice cycling experience. It's good for people of all ages and abilities to use it. But the problem is that the gap is one that's quite dangerous, and so we need something to link the two sides. So one reason is practical for having the lane run this way, because again, as we'll see, it'll provide a fairly direct connection to the other lane. And the second reason is maybe more of a symbolic one, in terms of having a kind of freeway running through the city is, it says something about your city. As does having bike lanes in prominent parts of the city. So rather than saying what this road does, which is, this city is for people who have cars to drive very quickly through it, could say something else. This city is for people who want to drive cars through it on all of the space that would be left over, while also leaving room for other forms of mobility. So the positive implications along the way aside from the obvious one of the joining of the two sections of the lane, is all of the different sort of destinations that running a lane directly through here would enable. So this part, it's a little, again, there shouldn't be too many cars today, but it can be a little unpleasant on this roundabout, which is a very strange kind of roundabout to have. Again, it's something that seems more like appropriate for a racetrack rather than the center of a city. All these wide lanes encouraging very fast movement. And it's a little bit of the danger on this ride too. Because when there are fewer cars, those that are there can go all the faster. And so having a protected lane running right up here would be helpful on the days when, or the times when it's busy with traffic, and the times when it isn't, and still dangerous in a different way. Okay, so if we had a blue lane, protected lane running up this way, there'd be exits here for the mailbox. Also an exit there to get over to New Street Station, which is an important, obviously hugely important destination for people on bikes, which right now, coming from either end of the blue lane, there's no really good or safe way to get to the main train station of the city. So a blue lane running up here would help to solve that problem. I'm gonna go straight here, which is exactly where a bike lane could and ought to run. Catching my breath up this hill. And arriving at another set of major destinations. Obviously the library, Symphony Hall, Broad Street, and coming here up to Cambridge Street, which is a wide but quiet street, and having a bike lane running up here would enable all kinds of connections to cycle lanes on other roads. If I was to go straight here down towards the Spring Hill Library, that's a road heading the other way that also badly needs a protected bike lane. And having this connector through here for the blue lane would make that all the more easy, because it would follow logically as part of a network from this lane. Now I'm getting on to another one of the just big busy roads that run right through the city, have a lot of space for cars and need some reallocation. And that roundabout back there that I went through, the large one, Holloway Circus, I think it's called, to put a blue lane through there would also encourage a kind of redesign of the entire roundabout, hopefully with the kind of Cyclops Dutch design that would just send a very different message about who's welcome to come into the city and by what means. And here again, just wide, just sort of unnecessary freeways running through the city, which a protected bike lane would just do so much to rethink. And rethinking cycling and car infrastructure is particularly important this week because we're coming up on Car Free Day on 22nd. I think it's Thursday. which a lot of other cities do. There were plans for blocking one road a couple years ago, but it didn't happen because I think some drivers complained, which kind of says a lot right there. So as you can see, I'm just basically riding on all these big wide roads that could very easily spare the space. This church too, St. Chad's, would benefit so much from a bit of traffic calming. As others have pointed out, the fact that it's encircled by freeways instead of pedestrian plazas is a really unfortunate use of the space. And now coming up, I'm almost there. Another argument for this joined lane going this way is that it would deliver cyclists to many destinations in the city safely, and also provide a quick, efficient connection between the two parts of the lane. And then people could ride from the University of Birmingham up to Perry Bar without the dilemma of having to figure out which way to go, or to take a route like I'm taking here, which is obviously not very welcoming. Now, Lancaster Circus, I'm right by Aston University, VCU, again, lots of other destinations. And that's it. I'm already back on here's where the other part of the blue lane begins. So, now I could take this up to Perry Bar. So it seems like we need to get our planners on this, and or if not this, maybe there's things I don't understand or have overlooked. Maybe there's other ways that would be better to do it. But that route seems pretty direct. It seems to run in places where there's lots of extra space because there's so many excess lanes for car driving, and just again, a kind of symbolic connection showing that you can go through the city rather than just sort of being dumped out into dangerous areas if you take one or the other lane into town. So just a thought as we lead up to Car Free Day on Thursday, and though we won't be marking it officially in the city, I hope everybody gets out of their cars if they have them, and gets out and enjoys the day. See you later.